So when I'm calling on the phone and I'm talking to someone like a client that I've never seen before, I go back to my fear of public speaking. Now my biggest win is that when a client book, I call them.
Welcome to Speak Arizona, the podcast for professionals ready to elevate their communication and leadership skills. Whether you're speaking to a crowd or leading a team, you'll get practical tips, expert insights, and inspiring stories. Join us as we dive into the craft of powerful communication and authentic leadership. Speak Arizona is powered by District 3 Toastmasters. Subscribe and take the next step to becoming the speaker and leader you want to be. Welcome to Speak Arizona, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to find your voice. Hi, I'm your host, Rupesh Parbhoo. I help technical experts upgrade from being the smartest person in the room to the most influential, one conversation at a time. Learning a second language is not just about vocabulary. It's about vulnerability. It's about identity, and it's about learning how to be understood, and sometimes learning how to be misunderstood without losing confidence. This episode was inspired in part by my own experience growing up learning a second language. I was terrible in Spanish class, and honestly, I didn't actually rise to the occasion. I had all my friends do my homework for me, and I spent a lot of time trying to avoid the discomfort of learning a second language. At the time, I thought I was just being a kid. But looking back, I think I was avoiding being bad at something and having that vulnerability that comes with not knowing something, with sounding awkward, with getting it wrong, feeling exposed. And this is what makes this conversation so meaningful to me. Learning a second language as an adult is not just about grammar or pronunciation. It's about being willing to be a beginner again. It's about patience, humility, courage. And it teaches us something much bigger about communication, that finding your voice is not always about speaking perfectly, but about being brave enough to speak at all. Marie, welcome to Speak Arizona. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And for those of you who don't know, Marie is our PR manager. Yes. So she is the one who makes me look amazing in all the videos and all the social media that you see.
Yes.
So Marie, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Marie Feutrier. I grew up in France, where I started my family with my husband, and there was a big layoff in the company where Vincent was working, and we decided to resign and take the money that they were offering for people who were resigning. And the American branch of Vincent's company called him 2 weeks after saying, "Are you interested to go in Asia with us?" So we were like, yes, let's go in Asia. We had no clue where we would go. And we ended up in Japan for 3.5 years. So we took all the family and moved in Japan. After the 3.5 years, we had 2 options. Either we would go back home because we had the American contract. So home would be the USA, or resigning one more time and go in France. And we say, we spent 3.5 years in Japan. Let's go 3.5 years in America too. and that was in 2008. We stayed. We just loved here, and we decided to stay, and we built our family here.
Wow. I love that story. And I had opportunities in my career to work in different cultures and different places. So I think maybe that's also why we connect. I love these experiences of being so able to move your life and just be adaptable. So Marie, how old were you when you moved to the U.S.?
Oh, yes, that's a good question. I was 35 years old when I moved. And at that time, I could read English, but I could not speak. So actually, I learned to speak English when I was 35 years old.
What was that experience like?
It was very tough. Not be understood. was very difficult. My accent was even stronger because I didn't speak at all. I was able to follow on TV, but I was a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't practice a lot neither. There's a lot going on when you don't master the language. And something that I experienced at that time is that because I wasn't able to express myself correctly, I could see that people didn't understand, and that brought some kind of annoyance that was getting almost anger. I was getting furious not to be understood. And later on, I learned that kids who have a small vocabulary tend to be more aggressive. And I totally connected with that, because when you feel that you're not understood, anger comes in.
That's powerful. That's really interesting to think about. Even me speaking English, thinking about work situations or personal situations where I don't feel understood, it is very frustrating. Yes. and very stressful to be in that situation. Yes. You also mentioned you lived in Japan for 3 years. So did you learn how to speak Japanese?
I can get around in Japanese, but I cannot have a full conversation. One of my proudest moments is when we left. I had to go to the phone company and cancel my contract. And I didn't know how to say contract. I didn't know a lot of words. And I went to the company and I say, denwa, so that means phone. And I say, cancel. So that's the sign in Japanese to say no. And I say, cancel. Denwa, cancel. And the guy was, sumimasen, watakarimimasen. Like he explained that he didn't speak English. And he was, okay. And they canceled the phone line. And I was like, oh my Japanese, it's enough for that. Like I was super proud of myself.
That's amazing. So you speak English, you speak French, obviously, and you know a little bit of Japanese. What other language? Bit.
I learned Italian at school because I'm from Nice, which is right at the border of Italy. So I thought at the time that Italian was more useful for me. And now I'm like, I should have picked Spanish.
So take me back, that moment where you were in the US, you started having to communicate more and you're frustrated, you're angry because your words aren't coming across, you're not connecting with the other person you're trying to connect with. What did you do? What was the moment or what did you do to get better?
Yes. My first really strong experience is that I signed up with a networking. I'm a photographer by trade. And I signed up with a networking group. And each week we stand up and give what they say a commercial. So it's 1 minute saying what is it that makes you worth having a referral. And I remember seeing those eyes on me, and I could see that they didn't get at all what I was saying. So I got anxious, and when I'm anxious, my pitch got up like that, and I'm talking fast, and I'm going, and I was talking faster, and nobody understood. And that day I was like, I need help. I need to practice more because I need these people to understand. And so I signed up with Toastmasters.
Oh, wow. What was your first club?
I visited 2 clubs, but I fell in love with Gilbert Toastmasters. That's the one that I'm still in.
Shout out to Gilbert Toastmasters. So how was that experience of preparing for your first speech or even going to the first meeting? Do you remember when you walked into that
my
room?
Gosh. I remember I was motivated. I was like, I don't want to experience what I felt in my networking group. And so they asked a volunteer to speak in table topics, and I say, I don't care, go. I have to pass. I have to be strong, and I have to accept that if I want to progress, I have to put myself over there. And I went, and I won the most improved member at the end of the year.
Improved.
Yes.
That's amazing. And And I think like this makes me think back to in high school and middle school when I used to take Spanish. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, a very bilingual city. Everyone spoke Spanish and English, and it was just this great melting pot of culture. And because of that, I could get my friends to do all my Spanish homework. And I remember, I hope my teachers don't listen to this. I remember one year we had to write an essay for class, and we were allowed a little note card. And I literally wrote the whole essay in like super light pencil and then like erased it and wrote in pen so it didn't look like I wrote the whole essay on the card. And the teacher, I think she noticed. But I used to do all these tricks to avoid actually learning and speaking Spanish, because in high school, I did pretty well. I was good at engineering and math and science, and I never thought about it that back then. But the idea of having to be bad at something to then get good. We're not born good multilingual speakers. Yes. So that when I thought of that story and wanted to bring you on the podcast, it just makes me chuckle now and think, oh, sometimes you need to have that breaking moment.
Exactly.
To say, forget it.
Yes.
I don't care what people think because this is not working for me.
Yes. Don't give yourself grace. You were young and it wasn't the time for you because you didn't see the value of learning this language. For me, I had no choice. I was living here, so I needed to learn. And what I noticed is that being forced to speak helps on the motivation side.
So what was it about Toastmasters? So you've got these opportunities to speak that helped improve your English, or what were some of the things you noticed that maybe were surprising or unique to that experience that you're like, oh, this is not what I was expecting, but I'm getting better?
Toastmasters is a place where a lot of people who struggle with confidence meet. So there's a feeling of community and let's learn together. We are on a journey together. We don't have the same problem. We don't have the same things to deal with, but we are together. It's a safe place where you can do mistakes and people are not going to judge you. That's what helps. And the first year, I never missed one meeting.
Wow. That's dedication. And that's so impressive. The ability to put yourself in that situation. And Toastmasters is a very supportive environment.
Yes.
And it is the place, I like to say, the place to make the mistakes. So when you go to these important business events and networking moments and public speaking on the stage, you're ready to go.
Absolutely.
So when you were learning English, what felt vulnerable to you as you were learning this language, or even learning Japanese? What was that process like? What felt vulnerable, even when you had this change of heart to go to Toastmasters? Do you still get nervous or still feel?
Oh, absolutely. The most difficult for me is impromptu conversation. When somebody asks me a question, and it could be in life, because I have to think of what I want to answer first, but I also have to think of how I can express myself in that language to be understood. And then I have to speak and say the words correctly. And that's a lot. I feel like I'm losing 20 IQ points when I speak English just because of all the brain processing that I have to do.
Do you still think in French, or sometimes you catch yourself thinking in your mind's voice in English?
Oh, I use a lot of English. I have the hardest time writing an email in French.
Now?
Yes.
Wow.
Because my life is writing emails in English. I'm at this place where emails are the vocabulary that I'm very comfortable with, that I'm using all the time. So that's easy.
It's one of those things, what you focus on grows, and you can focus on the positive and focus on the improvement, or focus on writing emails in English, and then that's what grows. So That's really cool. What has learning these second and third and fourth languages taught you about communication and listening? What is this whole journey in language the past, however many years?
A lot. First, I remember when I joined and I was in a conversation in a small group. I was interrupted a lot. When it was my time to speak, people cut me off and just talk over me. And at the beginning, I was, yes, because they don't want to hear your accent. I was taking it very personal, like you're not deemed to be listened to. It was difficult. And then, because I really think Toastmasters helped a lot, I was starting winning. I won Best Speaker a few times, and I won quite often Best Evaluator. So I'm like, now people can understand me. I don't have that confidence issue, and I still get interrupted a lot, often. And I understood that, maybe I'm just rambling, but in the same time, I'm thinking of not vomiting words and be taking a breath and thinking of what you're going to do before speaking and what you're going to say actually helps. And so, so in a way, what at 20 years ago, what I was like, I don't feel understood and I'm a victim of that. Now I'm like, actually, that's a good lesson. Like, just stop a little bit and think of what you're going to say and say something intelligent and smart that brings something to the conversation rather than jump into the conversation and just vomiting words.
You heard it here first. Think about what you want to say before you say it.
Yes.
Love it. Marie, I want to do a little coaching session.
Yes.
I want to practice my vulnerability of being bad at something, and I want to practice some French.
Okay.
I don't speak French, but
yes.
I want to learn about, and I want the listeners to just hear about some of the stuff we were talking about before we started recording, which is language is not just the words. It's the pronunciation and the pronunciation. And then there's a physicality to it too. So can we talk a little bit about that, and maybe you teach me how to say or pronounce some things in French?
Absolutely. In English, what I'm still struggling with is two things. The voice placement and where to put the emphasis. Because if I say cathedral, do you understand what I mean?
I do, but cathedral?
Yes. So, because you have, in English, most people don't understand when I say cathedral. You have to say cathedral. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's exactly the same. Like, it's just where you the accent placement. In French, every syllable is important. So it's cathedral. Mm-hmm. In English, it's cathedral. Like, it's if you say cathedral, they don't understand. And every time I learn a new word, I'm like, where do you put the emphasis? So is it veterinary? Is it veterinary? I don't know. Like, there's no rule. You have to listen to people and remember where.
Ooh, that's so true. Like, in Spanish, they put the accent on the, like, in Spanish, the rule is, I think you emphasize the second. See, I did learn something in Spanish. You emphasize the second to last syllable unless the accent is somewhere else. But in English, there's no cue to like which syllable.
You don't know.
Interesting.
It's very hard to, especially the longest words. And I ended up being the sorry about that, secretary treasurer at my networking. And every single week I have to stand up and I was like, am I the secretary treasurer or I am the secretary treasurer? I still don't know.
Okay, let me see. Secretary. Maybe the first secretary.
Treasurer.
I don't know. Maybe the first syllables.
Secretary.
You're right. It's hard even.
Treasurer.
As a
So
speaker,
first
first syllable for both. Secretary.
Yes.
Secretary.
And my second struggle is, and this is even more difficult because it's ingrained in my muscles. In French, we speak from this part, like from more the face. And in American, you speak more from the throat. And so I'm trying to do it right now, speaking more over there, but when I get into the conversation, it's getting back there because it's so much easier for me. I'm trying to speak from there now.
But I think it's important to know make people aware of the different challenges. It's not just learning how to read and then speak, but there's a physicality. Absolutely. And even I know I had a friend who was trying to teach me Chinese and just different words, and even the pronunciation of the tongue placement. There's all these different things, and the accent listening to all. It's not just reading the word and saying the word out. There's so many levels and context. And we're talking all about verbal communication. Then you add in nonverbal cultural context, and that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes. And I really want to put the accent on how difficult it is to be aware of something when it's not meaningful in your language. So, for example, for us, we don't make the difference between the sound going up or down.
Oh.
But in Chinese, it's important. So, in Chinese, ba, it's different than ba. But for us, it's just ba.
Right.
And so when I moved in Japan, Vincent received an email from their manager, and the manager is a Japanese speaker. And in Japan, they don't make the difference between the R and the L because for them, there's no meaning in their language. So they are confused when they use the R or L. Like for them, it's very hard. Like for us, ba and ba. So he ended up having an email asking the leadership to help the engineers glow. And
why not?
It was very cute. I remember that. But it makes so much sense when you put yourself in these shoes. Like it's hard.
Yeah, I remember when I was living in the Middle East, so I worked in Doha, and there was just people from all over the world that lived there, and everyone was speaking in their different forms of English. And it was the funniest thing, because I was from America, they were like, you edit all the reports, and I would edit them to American style English, and no one could understand them. So I had to twist it to this Middle Eastern English, which was funny. And then in Arabic, it's a similar thing with the letter P and B, as in boy, and P as in Papa. There's no difference in sound there. So even my name is Rupesh Parbhoo. Like, it was just funny because I have a lot of P's and B's in my name. So it was just funny hearing how they would pronounce. One of my favorite stories is I was working with something, and on the report was the word scenario. And everyone kept pronouncing it scenario. And it would make me laugh every time. But I appreciate, because there's all the how C and K and CH and H's are pronounced, P's and B's for people speaking Arabic, and C's and H's for people speaking Malay. It was such a fun experience to be. Yes, I was in Doha in the Middle East, but I was actually surrounded by a bunch of cultures and a bunch of these little silly nuanced things.
Because when the language doesn't have this distinction, you don't. Growing up, you don't make them, and so in France we don't have this. It's an I, but it's not a clear E. So when I say beach, you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Because for me, I don't know how to say the EI. I don't have that distinction.
We might have to edit that out. No, I'm kidding. We'll keep that in. That's so great. Marie, what advice would you give to someone who feels embarrassed as they're learning their second language?
I totally understand that, but the only thing to do is just jump in and speak like children. Look at the kids; they just say words and then they improve. We have to go back there and forget and get a little, give us grace.
Play. That's what we say in yoga. Like there's all these people at different levels, and sometimes you see someone doing something that is amazing, and you're never going to get there unless you just play, try it.
And don't compare yourself to other one. Get your own scale of progress. Where you were a month ago and where you are now, it's more important than whatever anyone else does. I remember my mom, we were climbing a mountain, and I was very tired that day. I didn't feel good. And I was like, Mom, I'm last. And my mom, she looked at me and she said, you in front of everybody who didn't climb the mountain that day. And I'm still thinking about that.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that perspective. And also what you said about not comparing yourself to other people, but comparing yourself to your own growth.
Exactly.
And your own progress.
Yes.
That's what really matters, not how someone else is doing.
It's not easy. You have to step back, and when the shame comes, I have to break it and say, stop here, be rational. What's happening there? Yeah.
Take that pause.
Exactly.
Love it. Marie, anything else you want to share on this topic before I jump into my rapid fire questions?
You can jump in.
All right, let's jump in. Marie, what book, article, or podcast has inspired you recently?
I was a little bit late on this trend, but I recently read Super Communicator by Dunning, I think his name is. And I really loved it. Especially there's a part where he's saying that we shouldn't have small talk. Even with people you don't know, you just go there and ask meaningful questions like, where was the last time you cried in public? And that, like, I like this way. I really highly recommend.
I'll add that to my list.
Super Communicator.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
What is your biggest public speaking pet peeve? Something you wish public speakers would stop doing.
So, that's so funny because it's the same thing, but opposite. So I wish people stop using this at every sentencing, like every time. However, in Toastmaster, because we are part of Toastmaster, I think Toastmaster should relax a little bit with that. Because we still need to be natural, and having a few ums and arms are okay. Too much is annoying.
I agree. There's a naturalness. Although I always catch myself saying kinda and gonna and cuz. That's my personal opportunity for growth is to get rid of those words. But I agree, there's a naturalness that you want, but you don't want to be distracting with your naturalness. Yes, love it. What's your go-to way to collaborate? Do you prefer email, phone calls, in person? Do you like text messaging, WhatsApp, Slack?
I hate text messages. I think it's really confusing. I'm a direct, I like to have direct communication. So I love live meeting, but I will go for a phone call. Nice.
I recently discovered voice notes, sending voice notes instead of text messages. And I'm driving all my friends crazy because it's just a fun way to add the real, you don't need the emotions. You can just use your voice.
Yes.
And I love it. It's fun. What was your last major speaking gig? And what did you learn from it?
I'm an introvert. I don't like to be
in front of the cameras.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that. I like one-to-ones. And the funniest thing is I think I need connection, visual connection. So when I'm calling on the phone a client that I've never seen before, I go back to my fear of public speaking. For me, it's exactly the same. And now my biggest win is that when a client book, I call them, I take the phone, call them and say, I receive your booking. I'm here. Do you have any questions? It's a very short thing, but I'm so proud of myself being able to do that.
Nice. Yeah, just addressing it right away, whatever your own discomfort, because they may not even know or care. But it's for your confidence and
just
comfort.
Like I think it's important for the clients to have this conversation opportunity at least, because they just they pay for their photo shoot and they don't know if I'm even real. They didn't see me. So just having this conversation is important for them. And I'm glad I can do that now.
Nice. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a new public speaker?
Practice. Go for it. And I know that it's not easy, but if you can jump in table topics, that is the most difficult thing. Prepare speeches for me are easier. I would say do table topics.
Practice and play.
Yes. And don't judge yourself too harshly.
Yes. I'm actually picking up a new yoga class, and the owners of the studio are going to record me teaching. And I'm so nervous, and it's so silly because I've taken this class hundreds of times. I know I could teach it in my sleep, but they're going to record me. So I'm bringing a friend over and teaching him the sequence that I'm going to teach for that kind of interview. So practice.
And if you have to do a video, for example, do the video. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have stuff that you hate. Just do the video and then do another one and then do another one.
And eventually you'll get used to the sound of your own voice.
I know.
I used to hate, maybe still do, but now I'm like, okay, when I'm editing and listening, I can hear my own voice now and not totally cringe.
Yes.
So practice makes perfect. Marie, if people want to hear about your photography business or anything, where can they reach out to learn more?
I think I'm very easy to Google. My name is Marie Feutrier, so that is actually difficult. But I guess you're going to write the name so they can. And you can find me also at headshotsbymarie.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marie. I love this conversation. I hope we inspire some shy speakers or people learning second, third, and fourth languages to really be vulnerable and try and play. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you want to hear more, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, we encourage you to
Speak Arizona.